I am a man of honor, integrity, and promise. I pursue all righteousness. I love my family. I will not put my family in harm's way. There is nothing that will keep me from doing the right thing. I am an ambassador of hope and a man of discipline. I am a man worth following. I am a TYRO.
Welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And if you don't know who we are, Ron and I did 15 years in the prison system.
15 years in the joint.
Years.
But I tell you
15 years
what,
on the outside visiting the joint.
Yeah, but I tell you what, in that experience, we've been able to create a curriculum called TYRO. TYRO is a Latin word which means apprentice, novice, someone learning something new, a warrior. And so what we want to do today is we want to talk to you about how do you move forward without leaving anybody behind?
Because when you go to prison, your family's left on the outside, whether it's your kids, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your girl, whoever it is, you've left them on the outside. And so now you're living these lives that are separated by time and space. And how do you? I know when Ron first went to prison, I mean, it was like the initial shock and awe of it was, oh my gosh, I have to wait for him. I can't experience that because I have to wait for Ron to be able to experience it. And then that started feeling like it was really suffocating me. So we had to come to a decision on, how do we move forward without moving on?
But so what? Why? Why do we want to move forward? I think that's important too. And then we want to understand really the how do you make it happen? Because what happens is, and we're going to really get into the nitty-gritty about this, because it's important to understand, gentlemen, that though you may be out of the everyday struggles of life, right? The everyday things that come and bombard people when they're living out there, and what's happening to us when we're incarcerated, it's like life stops for us.
And it's like a different world. It's like you feel like you're so far removed and disconnected.
And so what we want to talk about today is really how to stay engaged, how to become that best cheerleader in your family's life, and how to be an asset versus, in other words, how do you become a fountain of life versus somebody who's always a drain, right?
And so when we think about how to move forward without moving on, we're really talking about how do you keep your family and build your family intact and even cause them to be closer than they were before you went to prison, in spite of the distance, in spite of the separation. Because if you don't do this, I guarantee you your family's going to fall apart.
It takes a lot of work to really maintain a relationship just for you and your significant other, you and your wife or you and your girlfriend. And it takes a lot of energy to really implement that type of thinking, where, I want to become better. I don't want to be that person who's always asking, give me. One of the challenge I had, I remember when I was incarcerated, was not asking for money, and that was tough, but I had to face that reality that every time we talked, I asked you for money. So I became a drain in our relationship. And so what we want to do today...
Right, because if you don't know how to do it, you're not going to be able to do it. So you're not going to miss today's show. You can't miss today's show if you want to move forward with your family instead of moving on or watching them move on. So stay tuned. We'll tell you how to do it, what it is, and why to do it. We'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You will begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Catherine TYRO's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO.
And we're talking about moving forward without being left behind, right?
Or moving forward without moving on.
That's a good way to put it. Moving forward without moving on. Because a lot of times when we find ourselves in prison, you know what? The greatest fear a man has in life, and we're going to keep it real, gentlemen, is getting that Dear John letter. Is that what it's called? A Dear John letter where the family is moving on without you.
And on the outside, one of our greatest fears is that you're going to outgrow us or outlearn us. So that as I'm watching Ron's growth and watching things change and watching him learn new things, I'm wondering, does he still have a place for me in his life? And he's wondering the same thing. Does Cathy, do the boys, do my children still have a place for me?
Do you even still want me to come home? And because I'm doing my best to change and rehabilitate myself, right? By reading and studying and all those type of things. And I want to be able to come home and become an asset to our community, the family that we're building. But are we on the same wavelength? Are we on the same thing? Because really what it's about is progress. Because fellas, our best thinking on our best day got us locked up. And so I know that the first thing I had to do was change the way I think, change the way I see life, change the way I see Cathy, change the way I see our cohabitating, our living together. What does that look like?
So that means change the way you see your family, that just because you're separated by time and distance doesn't mean that you have to move on or say to them, go ahead and move on. So what we really want to focus in on this segment is talking about what is it? What are we talking about when we say moving forward without moving on? Well, let me share a story. Let me share something that I hear often that it is not. And so when a man gets locked up and he looks at his girl and says to her, you know what, baby, I know you have needs, babe, and so I don't expect you to wait for me. You do what you got to do. You just have a place for me when I get home.
Now, I never said that.
No, you didn't say that. I would have smacked you had you said that.
Maybe, yeah.
If not physically, at least verbally.
Yeah.
And so that is not what we're talking about. We're talking about moving forward without moving on, and that means that we focus on making sure that our relationship is intact, that we're growing together. That's what we're talking about moving forward. Moving forward together, both of us are encouraging your whole family, your children, to continue to learn and grow and experience life.
And one of the things that, when we talk about progress, is one of the things that I had to come to grips with was, helping you and being excited about opportunities that would come into Cathy's life, things that were coming into new jobs and things like that, and not be that person that was trying to hold her back because of my own insecurities, my own fear of losing you, my own fear of you outgrowing me and you no longer want me. And these are mind battles that I was having, and fellas, I know you're having them too. If you got a lady out there and she's doing good, you're having a mind battle that, what, is she gonna still wanna be with me?
So when we think about what it means to move forward without moving on, that means we're not pushing the pause button. We're not pushing the stop. We're going to just stop experiencing life. We're going to wait till we come back together, and they're not going to do anything that I can't do, and because I'm stuck here, so I can't experience what it means to go camping. I can't experience a vacation. I can't experience... All of those things are not what we're talking about. Those are things that are moving on or stifling growth, right, that are going to cause you to lose your family. What we are talking about is finding ways to stay connected while you are all moving forward in life.
Moving forward without moving on. That's powerful because as you moved forward and you grew, literally, as you grew up, right, to become the woman that you are today, I mean, you had to go through a lot of changes that I wasn't involved in the changes. I was actually, and it's a bad way to put it, is I think I'm now a spectator in the stands watching you move the football down the field, but what's my role? Why is this important to me? We want to talk about that.
Yeah, we can't bench our kids just because we can't play.
I can't bench my wife because I can't play now.
Right.
Right?
Right. And so when we talk about moving forward, and I'm going to keep saying, we're going to say it over and over again because it is really vitally important that each of you and your children and your significant other, and if you're not in a relationship, that's okay. Focus on your kids because it's vitally important that you and your children learn that it's okay to continue living, that bad things are going to happen. So when we talk about what does that mean, that means recognizing that this is a tough situation. It's not really what any of us wants. And it's a difficult chapter in our lives, but we're going to navigate it together. And that means continuing to grow and to develop and to progress in spite of the fact that there's separation.
So what is it? It's about progress. It's about owning this experience and really allowing it to have its perfect work in our lives because fear will set in, and what fear does is paralyzes people. And so if I'm so afraid of losing Cathy, that I begin not only to exemplify that, and I begin to push that onto her, now I'm paralyzing Cathy from moving forward and progressing because of whatever mind battle I'm having, the insecurities that I'm dealing with that I don't know how to deal with.
Right, and the initial thought, the initial idea, and I spoke about it briefly in the introduction, is, well, I'm not going to experience anything, I'm going to wait for Ron. We're going to wait for Dad.
What would that look like? Let's say you did decide to wait for me. What would that look like?
Well, I mean, what it looks like is ridiculous, because it's just like, well, I'm just waiting for Mom Ann to come home. I'm not going to buy me a new car or a house. I'm not going to get any better or anything until Mom Ann comes home. That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Because then it becomes suffocating, and actually it destroys the individuals that feel like they're not allowed to progress without you being back in it, where you're moving forward, like experiencing the same things at the same time. So you can move forward together without having the exact same experiences by finding ways to connect. And we're going to tell you more about that as we talk about how, and we talk about why it's important.
So when we come back, and also we're going to share the perspective of, well, I was incarcerated and I was moving forward without moving on, right? And that's really important to see that there's two sides to this, moving forward without moving on. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Playing catch, basketball, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. These are all normal things on the outside, but many times are missed in a visitation setting. TYRO Dads brings the same fun experience to the inside through Family Days. As a TYRO Dad, you have the opportunity to participate in this fantastic event. Family Day is designed to allow fathers and families to engage with each other through activities designed to stimulate communication, learning, and play. Family Days will not only be a highlight for you, but for your children as well. The Ridge Project has strategically developed Family Day as an opportunity to help you connect with your child throughout your separation and help both of you develop skills to continue building your relationship when you return home.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tiarina.
And I'm Cathy Tiarina. And today we're talking about moving forward without moving on.
So thank you so very much for joining us on this episode of TYRO TV. And this is a kind of a tough subject to talk about, because all of us want to grow, we want to be better, and we want to be better together. But you know what? Because time and space, you have to do this separately. But at each interval, you get to come back to see what type of progress you made. And we're talking about the interview being a visit, being a phone call, and even a letter.
And oftentimes we hear from fathers especially, is, you know what, well, I can't be there. I can't be there at their games, and I can't participate. I can't teach them to throw balls. So you know what, just let them live their lives. I'm going to live my life. And they feel like it's an either or. Either I have to be physically there, or it's nothing. And it's not all or nothing.
And that comes back to saying, you know what, I came in alone, I'm leaving alone, so my wife and my kids and my family, they got to do their own thing out there, because I'm in here by myself, and and you don't know what it's like going in here, so I have to really live a different way to survive this experience.
And those are bitter people that are telling you that that's the truth. Those are bitter people that are telling you that there's no way that you can be connected to your kids, that you can't continue to be a good father and a connected father while you're in prison, because that's not true.
And I'm going to add a little bit to what Cathy just said. Not only are they bitter, but they're haters. Because hater stands for this: having anger towards everyone reaching success. Haters, having anger towards everyone reaching success. So if you have a group of men around you, listen to me, fellas, and they're telling you, let your wife go. You can't, you know what, you can't expect her to be faithful. Those are haters that you have in your life, and you need to cut that cord.
Or your kids are better off without you. You just do your time. You focus on you while you're here, and let somebody else take care of your kids. That's a lie. That's destroying your family. So we talked about what we mean by moving forward without moving on. Now, in this segment, we really want to talk about why is that so important. See, Dad, if your kids don't feel connected to you, they're going to grow up and they are not going to be able to be healthy, emotionally, mentally, physically. They're going to experience all kinds of self-doubt. They're not going to be able to perform well in school. They're much more likely to become parents as teens. They are much more likely to experiment with drugs and alcohol.
Or even get locked up like you.
Get locked up, that's right.
So why is this important, Dad? Because they're counting on you to be that hero in their life, even from behind bars. You become that example. Why is it important to grow and to move forward without moving on? Because they need to see the progress in your life. They need to see and get to an understanding, wow, if my dad can make it, if my dad can really come out and he can visit me, he's got a smile on his face, I can see that my dad is healthy, I can see that and I can understand what he's telling me, and you're building that bond because you're moving forward, you're becoming a better man, not a bitter man, you're becoming a strong father, not a weak father, you're becoming a strong husband, not a weak, you're not throwing stones at mom, because what happens is we see a lot of fathers, right, will let the kids come between mom and dad, and
or
now
use them,
right, and use them. Oh man, when they use the kids because they're angry at the significant other or the mother of the children, they'll use the children to hurt mom, right? By you know what, and then you know what I'm talking about, guys. So your job, Dad, is to be that hero in their lives, even from behind prison. And so what happens...
Right. When you go to prison, your children already feel a sense of abandonment because you are not physically in their lives anymore. And so if you decide to move on instead of move forward without moving on, then you are increasing and multiplying that abandonment in your children's lives.
So I love what you just said, Cathy. If you decide to move on without moving forward... You see, there's a difference there. You move on. That doesn't mean you're moving forward. It means you just change course and
going in a different direction.
You're going in a different
backwards,
direction.
Right? And so when you decide to purposely move forward with your family, with your children, being intentional, then it helps your children to be to increase their resistance skills, right? To be able to overcome and to face the challenges that they are going to face. And knowing that you're in the court with them, that you're navigating through this experience with them is huge. So if you don't need, really the only why you need to know that moving on without your family is abandoning them and making them disposable. If you believe that your children are not disposable, and I'm telling you they're not, then you have to invest in your kids so that you are literally going on this journey with them.
That's right. Because, I mean, you can find yourself in a self-pity party to where, you know what, woe is me attitude and mindset. It is not easy where you're at. We're not saying that this is going to be easy, but you can become the best cheerleader for your family.
And in that, creating that sense of security and stability, even from afar. Your job, Dad, is to create stability and security, and you are fully capable of doing that by continuing to be involved in your children's lives, even in spite of the incarceration.
So Cathy's coming to see me, you know, the White Factor. Here I am, I'm learning, I'm teaching myself how to write, really falling in love with reading for the first time. You know, I wasn't told I had to read, but I began to read and I fell in love with reading. I said, wow, why didn't I ever read before? And you know why? Because I want to have recess all the time, right? But now reading, going to the law library, understanding things, hanging out with men who are becoming really successful in prison, but they're locked up, but they're healthy mentally, they're healthy physically, they're healthy emotionally. And surrounding myself with guys like that to really understand, man, you're a man of honor in here. You can be taken at your word in here. How did you get that type of reputation in here? Because I need that reputation in here, so when I leave, I can take that skill out there with my family, because they're counting on me to be the father in their lives, moving forward without moving on.
Right. That's exactly right. So when we come back, we're going to talk more about exactly how can you do that? How can you be engaged in your family's lives in spite of the incarceration? What does that really look like to move forward without moving on? So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Dear son, it's been hard these last few years, watching you grow up without me in the picture. Never taking the time to find out how you were or what was going on in your life. You're just a boy, I thought. You don't need me. I didn't need my dad. He was never around, I told myself. But I was wrong, son. I'm supposed to be a grown man. I was selfish. I was stupid. I was thinking of me, not you. If I could go back, son, and change things, I would. It's taken me all this time being selfish to finally grow up and realize I need to be a responsible man. That's what I finally learned, not from prison, but the TYRO program. It's all about becoming a better, stronger man. Wish I would have gotten it sooner. Everything looks different to me now. I'm a changed person. I know I need to be there for you now. It's not about me anymore. It's not about being cool. It's not about who I run with. It's about Mom. It's about you. It's about being a better man, learning something new in my life. It's about being a TYRO, a man worth following. I'm your dad. You're my son, and I love you. I am a TYRO. I'm a TYRO. Dad.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tiarina.
And I'm Cathy Tiarina.
And today we're talking about moving forward without moving on.
And this is so important. We've talked about what does that really mean and why is it important? And now what we want to do is we want to share with you key tips, things that you can actually literally do right now, today, begin to make sure that you are actually moving forward with your family and not moving on, and also being involved with them so that they're not moving on.
So there are no excuses, because you know what? There's two reasons why this won't work for you, okay? And if it was one of the two or both. First reason is you're lazy, all right? If this doesn't work for you because you don't want to put any effort into it, you're lazy.
Right.
Or you don't care. So we guarantee you, if you apply these principles that we're about ready to show you, and everybody's engaged in it, of course, this will work. This will transform your family where people can move forward without moving on.
Right. Now, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? It wasn't destroyed in a day. So as you begin to practice these, you might see teeny tiny little glimmers of hope, but you probably aren't going to see a huge transformation as soon as you begin to put work and effort into it. Be patient, be consistent, don't give up, and keep moving. So as we talk about these things, the number one thing is really creating a family vision together.
That means where you get to share your dreams with each other. That means, Dad, where you're going to listen, and you're really going to listen with intent and purpose, where you're not going to dissuade them from their dreams, but really get an understanding how they dream and what they're dreaming about. Because if you don't knock them over, if you don't knock their dream down, guess what they're going to do? And we're going to talk more about that. They're going to share more with you.
So as you give them permission, so that's the second one. So the first one is creating a vision together as a family. You know, okay, well, this is what we want to accomplish. This is how we want to accomplish
This is
in our
where we
life.
want to go.
This is where we want to go, right? This is our experiences that we want to create together as a family. And so the second one is you have to give them permission to begin to do those things without you. So that means if you're saying, you know what we really want to do is we want to be able to live on this X block, whatever the name of it is. And in order to do that, you know that it takes so much in income, it's going to take so much effort and work to find the house. Instead of saying, wait 10 years till I get home, baby, and I'm going to buy you a house on X block, say, you know what? How can we figure out how we can begin to move forward towards that goal right now?
Now, let's say you guys came to an agreement and you said, you know what? I'm okay. Go ahead and begin the process and the plan that we've implemented, that we're going to implement. And the first process, sweetheart, you got to go get a job that's going to pay you a little bit more money. So in order to do that, you got to go back to school.
Right. Yep.
Right. And that's I know. Listen, guys. Now you got to go back to school. So if you're hung up on your lady making more money than you, especially when you get home, let me just put it in perspective. When you get home, Dad, you're counting on your wife or the mother of your children. You're going to be counting on somebody else to buy you toilet paper. So get over that. You know, you got a D-tip. Don't take it personal. You want to encourage your wife to do what it's going to take, because your vision is big, your dreams are big, and your kids are excited about, wow, this is where we're going to be.
But it has to be a family vision. That's why number one is family vision. Because if it's just you, hey, I want you, go do this for me, get this for me, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about creating a family vision. And maybe the family vision is maybe you have a son or daughter who really wants to be an artist. Give them permission to begin to learn to be that, even though you can't see all their progress because you're not right there. And then number three, find ways to be connected to that. So that means keep current on what's happening. So if we use the example of a son or daughter wants to be an artist, then have them send you pictures of their artwork, or send them articles about artwork, or send encouraging notes. And every time you talk to them, hey, what have you been drawing now?
You know, and it's really important to to edify them and lift them up in their dreams. And with purpose, you're pursuing your children. With purpose, you're pursuing your wife. With purpose, you're pursuing your family dream. With purpose, right? And this purpose is going to ignite the passion that is going to be contagious, because you're going to be cheerleading. You're going to be, all you guys are going to be celebrating each other's successes and celebrating each other's defeats. You know what? So if your lady goes back to school and maybe she's taking a couple classes, she's not going full time, she's working, going to school, taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, taking care of the dog, whatever. That's a lot on your lady. And if you're on the phone every night and you're telling her, you know, who did you meet in school? Were you talking to a guy? Did you meet somebody?
She does not have the emotional energy for that. And I'm just going to say that straight up. She does not have the emotional energy for that. She's doing everything she can and expending so much energy to create a better life for the children. She does not need to be constantly on the 20-question block, right? So what she does need from you is, number one, permission to move forward, because you're going to be moving forward with them, right? By celebrating and giving permission. Number two, encouragement. Number three, that keep current, right? And that means understand what's happening out there and how you can support it.
I think we should qualify really what that means to give permission to somebody. What we're doing is we're creating a collaboration. Right. We're collaborating together. We're coming in agreement what it's going to take in order for us to, you know, first of all, guys, the goal is when you get out, you want to get a job, right? Okay. But while you're still there, you know what? You want to help your family get off of welfare, okay? Because most of our families, if you're found incarcerated and you have a mama and kids out there,
there's a high likelihood,
you know, they're going to be on welfare. Okay, so there's got to be a plan. We always have an end date, right? You had an end date when you came to prison, and now you got an out date when you're going out. Well, you had an end date when you came to prison. Let's qualify an out date when you're going to get off food stamps. Let's qualify. You got the end date to get on food stamps. What's the out date? How long is it going to take to where, you know what, I don't need to take any more government assistance because now we are self-sufficient?
So as you begin to pour into your family and ask a lot of what and how questions, not why questions, but what's happening? How are you doing? Wow, how are you able to accomplish that?
How can I help you?
How can I help
dreams?
you? That's a really good question.
How can I help you from in here?
What can I do to support what you're doing? And so those are huge, small things that seem small, but they're really huge, ginormous things in the lives of your children and family.
So stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to wrap all this up.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You'll begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Catherine Tiarina's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tiarina.
And I'm Cathy Tiarina. And today we're talking about moving forward without moving on.
You know, this has been a courageous conversation. And we're hoping that you're really listening in and you're leaning in and really getting an understanding, because, you know, insecurity is real, it's powerful, and it can really stop your growth between you and your family.
Because either you will move on, right, without your family, or you will create a circumstance by which your family's going to move on without you because you're refusing to move forward with them or to let them move forward. And this is real, guys, and I know that this is difficult, but this is something you must do. If you want to be a part of your children's lives and you want to create a legacy, you must learn to move forward with them without moving on.
So what Cathy's saying is we don't want to be the anchor in progress. We don't want to be that which is stifling our family's growth. If we're encouraging to move on and then it starts to happen, don't be surprised when it starts to happen, because you're creating this experience. I remember when Cathy wanted to go become a paralegal, and she's telling me this, and she's telling me some schools out there, and I was like, oh my gosh, if she gets a law degree, she ain't gonna want to be with me. If she goes to meet all these lawyers, man, so I had to check myself because that was insecurity starting to rise up and lack of self-confidence and all these things. Instead of doing that, I said, how can I be part of the solution and part of this progress? So I began to ask guys in prison, hey, what law libraries did you guys go to or law schools did you go to become paralegal? Boom, Blackstone School of Law. I showed her to Cathy. Boom, that's where she went. I was part of her growth, part of her becoming a paralegal.
That's exactly right. And so when we talked about today on the show, we talked about, what does it really mean? What does it mean to celebrate your family and to give them permission to keep moving forward? What does that mean? What does it look like? What doesn't it look like? We also talked about why that's so important, how to really cut off those generational cycles of welfare dependency and poverty and incarceration and drug addiction and alcohol addiction. You have to be present in your children's lives. You have to continue to move forward with them. And then we talked about exactly how to do it, the mission and the vision statement and the giving permission and the encouraging. And so, we talked about a lot today, and I'm sure that as you go back and you think about this, you're gonna really think about ways that you have been holding your family back. And so I really want to encourage you to change what you're doing so that you can change the outcome for your children.
Thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your journey. And we know that this subject is a touchy subject because, everybody wants to be whole. Everybody wants to be healthy. Everybody wants to come home to a family. You don't want to go out alone. I mean, that's a scary place to be. So it begins right now. Become the best cheerleader become the CEO of your family, chief encouraging officer. Again, just thank you for letting us be part of this journey, and we hope that you've enjoyed this segment of TYRO TV. Until next time, always remember,
we are rooting for you.
I am a man of honor.
I am a man of integrity.
I am a man of faith. I am the antidote.
I am a man of discipline. I am a leader.
I am strong.
I am a man worth following.
I am a TYRO.